All right, I'm going to look at your mock draft now. I'm not going to read every single pick in your 3-round mock draft, and I know you said this was an absolute grind, but I'm going to highlight some notables in this one, some ones that maybe we haven't seen, some picks that we haven't seen, starting with the New England Patriots.
I'm trying to find it right now, because if I go to mock drafts on PFF.com.
Oh, I need to fix that. That's on me. That's on me.
It's not even 16 days ago. Whew.
I apologize. The first pick I want to highlight, though, is the New England Patriots trading up from 15 to 9 with the Denver Broncos to grab quarterback Mac Jones of Alabama. I've heard from multiple people that trading up for Mac Jones feels risky. And for the New England Patriots to do that, to trade up for a quarterback and not get one of the big four, one of the kind of high ceiling, big traits guys, and instead land with Mac Jones, I find that interesting. I don't know if I love that move for the Patriots.
I don't know if I do either, but desperation breeds poor decisions sometimes. And I do think that these guys are all going to go high. I think you see 5 in the top 10. I just think you do. I think you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then someone at that point, because you're going to have Mac Jones start slipping. I do think if he fell to 19, if he fell to 20, Washington and Chicago would pull the trigger respectively. He's not going to go that, he will not get past there. And I do think that this is the class that the Patriots are going to be players in, because keep saying this roster building, how spending all this money in free agency, second most whatever guaranteed money all time, only works if you have a cheap quarterback. You cannot spend like that in free agency if you're paying your quarterback $30 million a year. If Cam Newton balls out this year, you are paying Cam Newton $30 million a year, and all of a sudden that whole sort of plan of building it crumbles. Now, maybe Bill Belichick only is going to coach 3 more years, and that's his plan, is saying the crumbling is for someone else to deal with. But I do think that they could be in the market for a first-round quarterback. And I had I had a hilarious response to someone had a hilarious response to me, I thought, about the mock draft, saying Bill Belichick can get by with late-round quarterbacks. It's like, oh, I wonder why that is. Because he's had one quarterback for 20 years. Not everyone can get by. That is the outlier, that Bill Belichick got by with a late-round quarterback. The vast majority of NFL history, that has not been the case.
I think the interesting thing about Mac Jones is some people yesterday were saying that, he's more of an athlete than people thought. He ran a 4.8. Are you making anything of those pro day numbers for Mac Jones?
I mean, he's like Jared Goff level athlete. Does Jared Goff do anything for you outside?
Jeez, don't make it that broad.
I'm saying does Jared Goff, are you running an option with Jared Goff and feeling good about it?
Does Jared Goff even exist? That's how that question was phrased. It felt
that was
rude.
not okay. I mean, it's just saying Jared Goff is an athlete. He's not bringing anything to the table.
Yeah.
He can maybe do a little outside the pocket, but you're not. That's not what you're banking on.
Also, athleticism is so much more than your 40 time. I don't know. Regardless, 40 time is not an indication of pure athleticism. I think the other pick I wanted to highlight is New York Giants passing on wide receiver and going cornerback J.C. Horn of South Carolina. I found that interesting because Devontae Smith goes 2 picks later.
Well,
I think a lot of Giants fans are upset about that.
I did it because Dory Jackson had not signed yet, and now he signed. So I possibly regrettable, but I mean, how good would that be to have a secondary that's those 3 guys, though? I do think we will see more teams following in the Miami Dolphins' footsteps after how good their defense was last year. They have Xavier Howard. They have Byron Jones. They draft a cornerback in the first round.
No,
3 cornerbacks start for your defense, and especially when you are a man-heavy team, the slot corner in a man-heavy scheme is a lot more valuable than it is in a zone-heavy scheme. Slot corner zone-heavy scheme is a glorified linebacker at that point. In a man-heavy scheme, you're the easiest target for someone.
Mm-hmm.
That is the easiest route to throw. That's where Tom Brady against man coverage is going to Julian Edelman in the slot. That's that's going to happen. That is where, if you're a man-heavy scheme, that might be the most valuable sort of position, because that's where that's the easiest throw for a quarterback to make if that guy gets open quickly. So I do think that that's a feasible, but maybe not probable at this point. I think they're sneakily in the mix for offensive line now, the Giants. That might be Rashawn Slayer's floor at this point.
I think it's interesting how you have the cornerback class, though. You have the Dallas Cowboys taking Caleb Farley, Virginia Tech at 10, and then the Giants taking J.C. Horn at 11, and then Patrick Surtain of Alabama at 12. I think this came out obviously before.
I was going to say, all the news yesterday really just boned me.
Yeah.
Because Caleb Farley.
Back surgery.
Have you
talked to your dad about that and how big of a deal that is?
I have not yet.
Probably
should.
You should talk to your dad more.
I'm going to see him this weekend. But I do think that he's going to slowly and steadily, maybe not slowly, swiftly fall down. Like a guy with multiple back issues, you're not drafting in the first round that high. Yeah, I don't care how good his tape is. His tape's great, but he sat out a year and he has back issues. That's just going to be too many red flags for a team to really want to go in on. He might fall out of the first round altogether with issues like that. It just is the case. No one wants to have that first round pick that can't see the football field ever.
True. What about, so Patrick Surtain had like a hell of a day at his pro day. Obviously, some of those numbers are inflated. I tweeted out his numbers like, oh my God, at a pro day, it doesn't matter. He might as well just not done it. It's like, no, wait a second. Not only were those numbers good, even if you factor in like some levels of error, like they were very good for Patrick Surtain. Yeah. Like he is a much better athlete than I expected. Those are better numbers than I expected, even with the pro day included. Like those are better numbers than I expected. I would say he is a lock to be the first cornerback off the board.
Ooh. I wouldn't say he's a lock.
Really?
I think you can see, I think Farley will not be the first cornerback off the board, but I think there's a world where J.C. Horn's first cornerback
really?
off the board too. I think they're different players and what the skill sets they bring to the table and how they play the game of football that you can fall in love with J.C. Horn's tape. So that one's still kind of up in the air. I am curious to see how they do come off the board though, because I think no one's really said any of them are going top 10, but like I don't think anyone saw C.J. Henderson going top 10 last year, and they ended up going 9th overall. So could see one of them sneaking in.
Do you think, we're sticking on the Giants pick, you have them taking J.C. Horn of South Carolina, passing on Devontae Smith, who goes to the Chargers 2 picks later. Do you think the signing of Kenny Galladay, I know you said this was before Dory Jackson signing, but this was after the Kenny Galladay signing. Do you think that gets them out of wide receiver at 11? I still think that like Jalen Waddle at 11 to pair with Kenny Galladay, Darius Slayton,
it would be awesome.
Shepard.
I would not be out of it personally. I do think that Dave Gettleman's in a job-saving mode. Like he's one of the GMs where like if it doesn't happen again this year, he's probably gone. So that's why I think offensive line is where they ultimately go with that pick 11, because that's where you make the biggest incremental increase. One more wide receiver, I don't think is making an incremental increase over a Sterling Shepard, whereas one offensive lineman can make a massive increase over, gosh, I don't know who the hell they're throwing out at right guard at this point. So there you go.
I really like Jason Oweh, edge from Penn State, going to the Cleveland Browns at 26. I like the Jacksonville Jaguars grabbing Terrace Marshall Jr. of LSU at 25. I think they need to build around Trevor Lawrence and add some more talent. And specifically a guy who can win over the middle of the field. And you saw him have a ton of success in the slot. I think he can play on the outside as well. But the tight end position in Jacksonville is bad. And I think someone was talking to me recently is like, a rookie,
like Chris Manhertz?
Not a big Chris Manhertz fan.
He's a good run blocker. Which is like ironic because he's a former basketball player. But
someone was asking me, isn't a rookie quarterback's best friend a good tight end? I think Trevor Lawrence's best friend is a guy open 40 yards down the football field because he's going to hit him in stride. And I think Terrace Marshall can do exactly that. DJ Chark can win down the football field. Laviska Shenault Jr. can be this guy that is their yak player and their yak type.
Calling tight ends and running backs best friends is the most overplayed trope in the NFL because, like you said, a quarterback's best friend is having their number one read open every time. It's having their number one read, which is usually your wide receiver, one of your wide receivers, being able to beat the guy across from him and to get open. That's a good thing to have. Not having the guy who, when your first and second read isn't open, then they're open. That's not a great best friend because that teaches you to get to your check down too quick. That's how you turn into Alex Smith.
Yep.
Can we still say safety blanket? Tight end's a good safety blanket.
Can't say safety blanket.
Can't say safety blanket either.
That's the same trope, and it's.
What about security blanket? Some people mix it, security and safety.
Weighted blanket.
Weighted blanket? Those are actually kind of fire. I didn't know weighted blankets were legit. All right, I'm jumping to the second round now. After passing up, you got running back Najee Harris to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 32.
Yeah.
You wouldn't actually do that if you're the Buccaneers GM. Was this what you think's going to happen?
That's what I think's going to happen.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm just making sure. Luxury pick. My God. You know who took a luxury pick at running back last year that won the Super Bowl? Frankly, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Hey, they got back to the Super Bowl, so...
Now, stop. I can't do this anymore. They're not taking running... Why don't they take Najee Harris at 31? Chiefs, might as well. Not a lot of holes.
Okay, Chiefs, not a lot of holes. But the Bucs don't actually have a lot of holes. They don't have a lot of positions where a guy could see the field right away.
I would take Dylan Radins over him. I'm looking at guys that you have.
I'm just saying, though.
Alex Leatherwood, Jackson Carman. Like, why would you not invest in an old offensive line?
But they're not going to start right away is the thing. Like, you draft any offensive lineman there, they're not going to start right away. Now,
yeah, the Chiefs
they probably
said the same
will.
thing.
I know. You're fucking preaching to the choir.
I'm going to be upset with you tonight.
I'm just saying.
Why did I say tonight?
That sounded so
That was so
interesting
bad
of you.
Oh, my God. That was terrible.
But a running back can see the field. A defensive lineman would see the field.
I can't wait for the Bucs to
rotations
have
at
that
defensive line.
rationale.
Feasibly,
Well, we just wanted to draft somebody that would see the field, so we grabbed a running back after picking up Leonard Fournette off the street and having him be our feature back. Anyway, moving to the second round, some picks I do like here. I like the Atlanta Falcons grabbing Jalen Phillips.
Can we do picks you don't like? I like them all too.
Okay,
I want to disagree a little bit here.
all right, here, let me look. I
Like
think
the Najee Harris, some more Najee Harris takes.
the Najee Harris one was awful. I also think you have Vic Fangio being an absolute kid in a candy store after already adding a ton of cornerbacks in free agency, getting also Asante Samuel Jr. and Javon Holland at the top of the second round.
Yeah.
Talk about path to the field. They've literally signed
I guess
so many
this was
free
also
agency-
before Kareem Jackson re-signed. But
Kareem Jackson, Ronald Darby.
now, yeah.
I mean, they definitely added a lot there.
That's their type. He's this type of cornerback.
I mean, I know it's his type, but I just don't think they have a path to the field. Looking for more. Davis Mills to the football team at 51? That's a little high. You like Davis Mills?
Is the guy.
Ahead of Kyle Trask.
He's the guy that I think someone will fall in love with. Any other year, here's a take on Davis Mills. If this was the 2013 quarterback class, and Davis Mills was the only guy, and the top 5 didn't exist in this class, you would hear everyone would be talking about Davis Mills. You'd be hearing he'd be like who's the Cal quarterback who really was just awful. His name was Davis Webb. Okay, I was like, damn, he would be Davis Webb.
San Diego State beat Davis Webb in the year I was covering the team for San Diego State, and it was awesome.
Congrats. But Davis Mills, everyone would be like, oh man, think about what he could be if those guys didn't exist. He would be getting a lot more hype. And I don't think it'd be unwarranted, but 51's about where I'd start to think about a Davis Mills.
You have Kellen Mond going to the Chicago Bears in the third round. I kind of like that. I'm trying to find picks I don't like, but I like that one. Dylan Moses at 87.
I said 3 rounds.
I don't know if Dylan Moses is going in the top 3 rounds. Did you see he has an undisclosed injury that kept him from his pro day? Pro day was what was supposed to put him on day 2.
Oh.
I don't know what's going on. And he's battled some injuries over the past
not.
few years. It's going to be kind of tough for him. Nico Collins at 91 to the Browns after grabbing Donovan Peoples-Jones, I think in the 7th or undrafted last year. They're just going to feed those Michigan receivers.
He's a lot better than Donovan Peoples-Jones. That's for damn sure. Like DPJ, freak athlete, was not a skilled receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Nico kind of is. He is in that mold that we usually don't go for. He's not a true separator, but he has some speed for a big dude, and he has very good ball skills. So I can see the people that love Nico Collins. I'm not going to say you're wrong, but it's just not my cup of tea sort of guy. Kind of like Brian Edwards last year. You're not wrong if you like Brian Edwards. There's things he does really well. Not going to be my cup of tea.
A couple more picks I like because I just can't find any ones I don't really hate, especially in the third round. At that point, you're just like, okay, finding some cool fits. I like Peyton Turner to the Dallas Cowboys at the back end of the third. Andre Sisco to the Ravens at the back end of the third. Tommy Tremble to the Niners to replace Kyle Juszczyk when those void years hit. Big fan of this mock draft. Go check it out for PFF.com.